First, Manchester United and Chelsea have denied making any contact with Jurgen Klopp's agent, Marc Kosicke, after he claimed both clubs made an inquiry for the former Liverpool manager. An article in Transfermarkt published that both United and Chelsea approached Klopp's representative after the German left Anfield. His agent also claims that Klopp could have replaced Gareth Southgate as England boss. But he goes on to say that before Klopp joined Red Bull as the global football director, he could have coached the USA or Germany had Julian Nagelsmann not already been there. Klopp left Liverpool in 2024 after 9 years in charge and said he would not return to club management and wouldn't manage another Premier League club other than Liverpool.
A, it shows Klopp's stature. And B, I think it maybe says something about the manager market as well. Because, look, we've discussed it on the show a fair bit over the past few weeks, especially with all the sackings in the Premier League, the power of sporting directors against head coaches. It doesn't feel like there are many big names out there. There aren't as many guarantees as a coach. And what does Klopp represent? He's pretty much the ultimate guarantee, given what he's done at Dortmund, at Liverpool, the way he's won titles at both and the Champions League at Liverpool, and just kind of completely revitalised two historic clubs of such stature. So especially if you look at someone like Manchester United, you can see what would appeal despite the Liverpool connection. In fact, the Liverpool connection might add a bit more edge to it as well. And this is the thing, I think any club in that situation, and like Real Madrid or another, they probably have a managerial decision to make soon over the summer. I don't think anyone expects Arbeloa to be there next season. And I think any time any big job comes available, at least for maybe under a year, another 2 years, there will be executives who think, well, maybe, just maybe, we can tempt him back.
The fact that his agent is talking in this way is very intriguing, and you do wonder whether he's done this interview under the authority and allowance of Jurgen Klopp, or whether he's just done this on his own accord to drum up interest in his client. Of course, he's going to be back at Anfield next month for a Liverpool Legends game as part of the managerial team against Borussia Dortmund. So that's only going to further ramp up this hype and interest on Jurgen Klopp returning to management, maybe Liverpool at some point. But as I say, the timing of this, there could be more in this than what meets the eye at the minute.
Right, James Savundra, what do we think then? Because, go on, remind us kind of what he's doing at Red Bull.
Yeah, he's been in this role for just over a year now, the head of global soccer at Red Bull. So he oversees the clubs they have there, including RB Leipzig and New York Red Bull as well. And that's been his first official role since leaving Liverpool in the 2024. So he had about 6 months off between leaving Liverpool and taking this new role. And one thing was really interesting, he made a clear commitment when he started this new role in January of last year that he'd never manage one of the Red Bull clubs. Yeah. So that tells you something about what he's thinking about this role. It's an overseeing role he's had at Red Bull. So he's had that for just over a year now. OK, look, when he stepped away from Liverpool, he said he wasn't going to return to club management, or he wasn't going to go into club management at that point. What do we think about club management? Could we see him back at a club? Could we see him in the Premier League, despite the fact he's ruled out managing any club other than Liverpool, despite his agent saying he's been linked with many other clubs? I think it's worth bearing in mind his track record when it comes to a club manager, because 23 years, just 3 different clubs. It was nearly 9 years at Liverpool, and he spent 7 years at Mainz and at Borussia Dortmund. And you look at the win percentage, it shows he's getting better as a manager. So it was an incredible journey he went on. And at the end of this time at Liverpool, he said he was running out of energy. And he sort of alludes to the fact that he didn't think that he'd be entering club management once again. But I thought what was fascinating is what his agent said. He said maybe at some point he'll say he needs to smell the locker room again. And you can see why Liverpool fans would love to have Jurgen Klopp back at some point, when you consider he won everything there is to win at Liverpool. They ended that long, long wait for a Premier League title. They waited 30 years to win the top flight title once again. He won everything, and he came so close in his last year to winning everything in one season, but unfortunately they fell short, didn't they? They just won the Carabao Cup in his last season in charge. He has said he'll never manage another club in England, so if he was to return to England, it would only be for Liverpool. He wouldn't return to another club such as Manchester United or Arsenal or Chelsea. And I think whilst Liverpool fans appreciate that Jurgen Klopp wanted to move on after all that time. Whenever they have a negative result or whenever it feels like they're not as close to silverware as they were under Klopp, there'll always be those questions, and I'm sure he'll be welcomed back by those fans.
Yeah, but if not a return to Liverpool, what are his other options, perhaps?
I think when you look at what he wants to do and what he stated in terms of not wanting to be involved in club management and the fact that he doesn't really feel the need or miss coaching as much, then there would be international roles potentially. And also in the interview that Kosicke gives to Transfermarkt, he suggests that Bayern Munich have tried twice to sign Jurgen Klopp. Surely that would be a job that would appeal to Jurgen Klopp. Clearly, Vincent Kompany is doing pretty well right now at Bayern Munich. But international jobs, that's where you'd feel there would potentially be a vacancy for Jurgen Klopp if he wanted to go back into management, because Mauricio Pochettino, he's been appointed the head coach at USA, but at the end of the summer, the end of that tournament, that could be a vacancy. And they tried to tempt Jurgen Klopp to sign before Pochettino did. There's also an argument from Klopp's agent that England tried to sign Jurgen Klopp before they appointed Thomas Tuchel. And also, I think in the back of everybody's mind, especially in Germany, there's always that feeling that one day Jurgen Klopp would manage the national team. Now, Julian Nagelsmann's got a contract up until the end of Euro 2028, but you know what it's like in tournaments. Yep. If Germany have a really, really poor tournament, then there'll be a cry for a new manager, and Jurgen Klopp would surely be top of that list. But Nagelsmann does have that contract running to the next tournament. But as you know, if they crash out in the group stages, if they don't perform at the level they expect, there could be changes. So perhaps if Jurgen Klopp wants to go back into management, an international role would seem maybe more appealing for him at this point in his career than a club role. But saying that, he's still so young, 58 years of age. Yeah. We see what Martin O'Neill's doing now at Celtic, the age of 73. He's got plenty of time if he wants to change his mind. And one thing he did say when he took this role at Red Bull, he said, I've got no clue what I'm going to be doing in 5 years' time. So I don't think he's ruled everything out, but he sort of said, at this moment in time, club management's not for me.
Yeah, we've got no clue, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll follow it. Of course, we'll see what his next move might be if he does make a bit of a change. For now, thank you, James.